All right, so our recording is now started. So the lesson is going to be done through Nearpod. I am going to screen share this with you. Now, if for some reason you can't get the Nearpod link to work, I will have a separate Nearpod link that I'm going to post on the announcement page of the OLS. So you can go through so you can get participation points for being in class today. So no worries if you can't do it. You can just follow along as I'm kind of screen sharing and we're going through it. But that's where we're going to be. We're going to be on the Nearpod. So on the Nearpod, real quick, there's two ways to join if you haven't joined already. Go to join.nearpod.com and you can put in this code 23MVN, or I put in the chat link, and I'll put it one more time if somebody might have came in and wasn't able to do it. You just click on that direct link. Once you do it, it's going to prompt you to put your name in. I want you to put your first initial and then your last name if you would, okay? And this is how you're going to get attendance points for the class for being in there. If for some reason you're not able to get on, once again, I will have a link that you can go into the Nearpod after and do it by yourself, and you'll get participation points that way. So, okay, does anybody have any questions? Can you put that in the chat if you're having trouble or any issues like that? All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen with you. All right, so this is what you should see right now. Lesson 2. And let's start begin. Okay, this is just kind of a notice that I need to mention to you each time that this lesson is being recorded for learning purposes, and you may have your classmates that are not here that may be they're absent or they need to review it for tests and stuff. They may be reviewing this this recording. So I'm just letting you know that is there. Some virtual expectations that I want you to go through as we're going through this lesson. One, kind of use your pointer to follow along as you're following along in the Nearpod. You may have this on a different screen on the Nearpod, just kind of follow along as we go. Raise your hand if you have a question. I try to bounce forth between teaching and looking at the chat, and sometimes I just can't. I miss what you put on the chat. So if you want to raise your hand, I'll go through the chat till I found or there until I have a question there. We can go from there. So respond to questions and instructions the first time. So if I ask you to put something up on the Nearpod or put something in the chat, if you would just do so fairly quickly, so we can everybody can kind of move on as we're going through the class. Also, there is not an away button on here, but if you'd kind of let me know through a private chat or something like that that you need to step away. I know we all need to step away sometimes for some reasons to do that. And then also make sure you use the chat tool respectfully as we're going through here, and just be respectful with one another as we're going along. Okay. Okay, so where should you be in the course right now? So let's kind of go over that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go into your course. So this is where your course is. We have lesson 1. The first recording is up on the announcement board. Okay, so if you didn't get that, you can go there, see what you needed to do for the first lesson. If you go up to the very top at the plan, and you open that up, that's going to tell you what needs to be done. Now, what I do is I have everything kind of due on Friday, and then I put grades in on Monday. So, yeah, can you hear me, Carla? Yeah, it seems like everybody else can hear me. So maybe you might want to go and see if your speaker's on down there. Okay, So as you can see here, Module 1 and Module 2 were due on Friday. So if you didn't get those done, you need to go back in and make sure you get those completed. So where do you find Module 1 and Module 2? If you go to the content page and you click that up there, this is going to give you your things. So we have a bunch of units. Module 1 is right here. So we needed to get all that done, and then Module 2 right there, okay? So if you didn't get those done, don't fret. I know it's the beginning and everybody's kind of on a learning curve of learning the course, but make sure you just kind of get those done. So that's where we should be in the course right now, okay? All right, so first thing we're going to do, we're going to watch a little video. And this video is going to lead us into a discussion that we're going to have about personal finance. So let me know if you guys can hear this when I push play. Okay, can you hear that? So what's due this week? I'll have that at the very end, what's going to be due this week, Dylan. But can you guys hear the video? Awesome. Okay, here we go. All right, guys. So why isn't that letting me go forward? Hold on. There we go. Just give me a second here. Okay, so I have a question for you guys. I want you to put up on the Nearpod as soon as it goes over. What are some goals that you have set for yourself right now? Maybe a short-term goal. So add that in Nearpod. So you add, what you do is you go to the bottom, add it in Nearpod, put it on there. Okay, to graduate this year. That is a great goal for yourself, okay? Graduate early. Very good. Okay, that's good for 2020. Get a 4.0. That's great, okay? To graduate. Graduate, good. Join the Air Force at 17. Very good. I like that. Very specific there. Graduate from high school, start college as soon as possible. Good. Graduate, graduate. To have your own place to live in the next 5 years. Okay, so let's talk about that one real quick. So that one would probably more intermediate goal, right, than a short-term goal. So I like that, okay? Be a cosmetologist. That might be a more intermediate goal as well. So try to think about intermediate goals now, right? Let's put those on there. So own property, I want assets. Okay, good. Get a good job during high school. Okay, so that would probably be a short-term goal. Awesome. So other maybe intermediate goals that you can think of. Okay, so own your own business. Yep, that would be an intermediate goal. Have you thought about what kind of business? Right, if you're thinking on there, what kind of business would you be looking at? Okay, graduate college. Good. Get an apartment. Very good. Okay, all those are kind of intermediate goals right now. Guess any other intermediate goals? Own a house. Very good. Or at least start to the purchase of a house, right? Sometimes it takes 30 years. If you have like a 30-year mortgage, it might take that long to actually own it yourself. Voice act for a teenage cartoon to earn money. Very good. That's very specific. Very good goal. So you might want to think about what that process is, okay? So that's one of the things you're going to be learning in these modules, okay? In module 3 is how to look at goals, right? Short-term goals, intermediate goals, and long-term goals in order to do that. Okay, grow an e-commerce business. Okay, very good. E-commerce is very big right now, and it's only going to grow in popularity. So that's a good thing to go on. What would be a long-term goal? Can you put a long-term goal on there for me? Okay, have a family. That's a pretty long-term, maybe intermediate goal. What are some things that she talked about for a long-term goal? Remember, these are the ones. Okay, to go to trade school and be a carpenter. Cool. Yep, retire. So one of the things is talking about retiring or looking at retirement. So what does your retirement want to be like? In the video, she talked about the lady. She wanted to do what for retirement? Can you remember? You can either put that in the chat or put that up there. I wouldn't mind this. She wanted to travel in a sailboat, right? And with her cats, apparently, because there was little cats popping up there. So those are some short-term, intermediate, and long-term goals. Okay, and so that's something you want to start thinking about, and that the module is going to kind of take you through as you're going through the that lesson there. So very good. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so we already kind of talked about this. So what are short-term financial goals you have? We already put that on the board. What we're going to do is we're going to go over another video of another concept that will be in the modules, and then we will discuss that again as well. All right. Okay, so what I want you to do is the next portion of the Nearpod is finding a place where you may want to live. Does anybody ever wanted to live outside of Utah? Why don't you put that in the chat real quick? Did you want to live somewhere outside of Utah someday? Yes, Texas. Okay, very good. Oh, there's Idaho, Seattle, Canada. Now, once you have looked at kind of where, so you're currently not in Utah right now. Okay, very good. No, you always want to kind of stay in Utah. But what I want you to do is kind of think about that for a second, okay? And I want you to think about somewhere you may want to live outside of Utah. Now, if you were to move outside of Utah, out where you live, how much more would it cost, right? So I like that. Maryland would be another one, okay? So you kind of have, hopefully you have something in your idea. So this is a cost of living index, okay? To see how much more it would be to live from one place and going to another, okay? So what you want to do on the Nearpod is you are going to go where you're currently living. And I'm going to put this in the chat for those that may not be able to get on the Nearpod so you can follow along as well. So you put you're currently living, let's just put Utah, right? They're not going to have your exact location, okay? So I'm actually near Ogden, so I'm going to put Ogden. And let's think of a place. So somebody said they wanted to live, so you live in, due to family things, okay? So you live in DC. So let me see what it would be if I went and moved to DC, right? The District of Columbia, okay? So let's see here, Washington, DC, okay? So if I move to the District of Columbia, okay, so let's say my salary was $50,000 here in Utah, okay? To basically have the same quality of life, okay? So he said, don't do it. It's not fun. It's not fun in DC. It'd probably be fun to go see all the places there. But basically, I would have to make $86,225,000 in order to have the same quality of life, okay? There. So let's try some other ones, okay? And I want you to try it yourself, okay? Oh, I'd love to live in Jacksonville, actually. Or Miami. Let's do Miami. I love to be at a beach right now. Live on the beach. Let's see how much it would be, okay? So it is a little bit higher, okay? Cost of living is 21% higher. So I would have to make about $10,000 more over there to live, to have the same quality of life that I have right now, okay? So somebody said, oh, you said do not live anywhere near Maryland. It's nice to go to DC, but not there yet. Yep, we'll welcome you back to Utah anytime. Okay. All right. So I want you to take a second and everybody do it, because we're going to have I'm going to have you put up there what you found out on the next slide. Okay. So make sure you go. I'm going to put in the link again. Just find a place that you want to live other than Utah, and find out what the cost of living would be. Okay, hopefully you have that out on the other side, so when I move to the next slide, you don't lose it on your Nearpod. Okay, so here's the question I want you to answer when you get it after you've done that on the cost of living calculator. Where do you want to move to? So that's your first question. Okay, and some of you guys have already put that in the chat. And was the cost higher or lower? Okay. So you said, I wanted to move to Colorado and it's much cheaper. That's interesting that it's cheaper. That's not that far away. Okay, Boston higher, California higher, and the cost was higher. Yes, I can only imagine. Okay. I know you might not plan on moving, but we're just going to do this hypothetically, okay? So if you can just go in and do this so you can understand the concept that it's more expensive to live in one place other than another, okay? Okay, Rhode Island, 25% higher. Thanks for putting a percentage on there. That kind of tells me. Okay, Wichita, Kansas is 11% lower, okay? So it seems like that Midwest area, like Kansas and Tennessee, that kind of area seems to be a little bit lower cost of living. McAllen, Texas, cheaper by 21%, okay? Juneau, Alaska, higher, yep, because they have to ship everything into Alaska, right? So your cost of living is going to be higher. So if you're going to move to there, you want to make sure you have a job that will support that, right? That will support that moving over there. Las Vegas, Nevada, it was 1% higher. Okay, so that's not that much higher. So about the same area. I was interested that Colorado was. They said much cheaper. Can you put on how much cheaper, percentage wise, if you still have that up there? Whoever did that. Okay, Las Vegas. I like that place. Slightly higher. Okay. Okay, so it was 12% lower to live in Cedar City than Ogden. I didn't know where to live though. Okay, so that's interesting. So living in Cedar City, so even our state, right? I bet you probably housing's probably quite a bit higher, and you can get into like the demographics of what's higher, right? Is it housing that's higher? Is it healthcare? Is it transportation? All of that kind of stuff comes into place. Okay. Oh, wow. San Francisco, California was 101% higher. That is like one of the most expensive places to live in the United States. Okay. Okay, so you don't have it up, but in DC it's cheaper. Okay. So we kind of did a little bit, and it might be a little bit more expensive in DC, but okay. All right. Anybody else? All right, very good. Okay, so those were the concepts the big concepts that will be in your 2 modules for this week as you go through them, okay? If you do have any questions, please feel free to contact me. My email's up here, my phone number, call or text. And then also, I'm trying to get people, if you need help on everything, since I have everything due on Friday, we do have a study hall on Friday that will be on your schedule. So if you hop in there, you can jump in a room with me and I can work with you one-on-one to be able to help you through things, okay? Carla, I don't know if your sound is on, but everybody else seems that they can hear me. So, all right. Yep, so I'm talking about study hall right now. So come to the study hall. Okay, if you have any other questions, I'm going to be on to answer any of those. Just remember what's due this week. You have Module 3 and Module 4 that you need to get done by Friday, and then I'll be putting in the grades again on Monday. So thanks, everybody, for coming. So Dylan, your exit ticket is to complete the Nearpod, okay? So the Nearpod is going to give you all of the participation points for class today. And if you were not able to do the Nearpod, just remember I have a link that you can do it later to make sure you can get those participation points. You'll just have to go through everything again. So, okay, thank you everybody for your time. Appreciate it, and have a great day. I'll stick around for any questions.